I hate waterproof jackets because the point of a waterproof jacket is to keep you dry. But the problem with waterproof jackets, why they're so terrible for cycling, is that because they're made out of synthetic materials, regardless if they're waterproof, breathable materials, cycling is such a physically intensive activity that they get so dang hot and sweaty. Look, I've tried a few different waterproof jackets. Fancy ones made out of Gore-Tex from Patagonia, Rafa, you name it. I don't care how much they market that they are waterproof and breathable. When I get on a bike, I'm sweating in them. My body runs super hot. I get very sweaty. It's kind of a problem. It's kind of gross. I get that the fancy hundreds of dollar waterproof jackets made out of synthetic materials may actually be waterproof and breathable, but cycling at above 15 miles an hour is not one of them. Here in Northern California, where it's pretty rainy in winter, when it rains, it's usually 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit. That's kind of warm, and when I'm riding in a waterproof jacket, no matter how breathable it claims to be, I still get sweaty in the rain. What the heck even is the point of a waterproof jacket if I'm just getting wet from my own sweat anyway? Pick your poison. Do you want to get wet from the rain, or do you want to get wet from your sweat? To put in perspective how dang warm these waterproof jackets are, no matter how breathable they claim to be, last year I lived in Michigan in the winter. It gets below zero, and it snows a lot. I stayed warm in Michigan by wearing a turtleneck underneath a waterproof jacket, and I would ride perfectly fine in wind chill with that jacket because they just don't breathe enough. And designers of waterproof jackets have attempted to remedy this problem of people who do things outside that are physically demanding and get sweaty in their synthetic waterproof breathable materials by putting in generous armpit zippers. And the idea is that the more airflow that you let through, the more the jacket will be able to breathe. But they have to do that because the material itself doesn't breathe enough. And yeah, the quote-unquote waterproof, breathable Patagonia jacket that I had for years and just recently got rid of because it just made me too dang sweaty and I got fed up with it. And even when I'm riding in the rain here in 50-degree Fahrenheit weather with the armpits completely unzipped, even the front zipper completely undone, okay, well in that case, I'm getting wet from the rain on the front, I still sweat in that thing. This is not even like pick your poison. It's like I am both sweating and getting wet from the rain. But by far the hardest weather to dress for is hot, steamy, rainy, tropical, and subtropical weather, because it's like you're just gonna get wet, either from your sweat or from the rain, and probably both. I lived in hot, steamy, rainy, subtropical Taiwan for 2 years, and I visited Japan twice, which has a similar climate, and I noticed a pattern amongst the scooter riders and the cyclists. Most of them wouldn't wear waterproof jackets. Instead, what they would wear is a rain poncho, which is essentially a big wearable plastic bag that you can buy for $1.50 at 7-Eleven. But the idea is that a rain poncho, unlike a jacket that is tailored to conform to every bend and limb of your body and trap heat inside close to you, is loose fitting, has a big giant hole at the bottom, and has big giant holes in the arms to let air escape and actually attempt to keep you cooler. Taiwan is actually the first time that I actually saw bike-specific rain ponchos. And that got me thinking, is the rain poncho just a better designed piece of clothing to keep you dry than the rain jacket, especially when it comes to hot and sweaty cycling? The idea a step further because I wanted to find the ultimate piece of clothing that would keep me dry and comfortable, not necessarily fast, but dry and comfortable in the rain while I'm riding my bike. And what I found was this lovely piece of clothing. This is the oiled canvas, yes, canvas, cotton canvas rain poncho. The cotton canvas rain poncho is a very popular choice amongst horseback riders. And if you've ever ridden a horse, you know that it's really freaking hard work. Just like riding the modern horse, the iron horse, the bicycle. Like, seriously, in Taiwanese, The word for bicycle is literally translates to iron horse. So I thought the oil canvas rain poncho would translate very well to the bicycle. But cotton is notoriously hard to dry. If you've ever washed a pair of jeans and had to throw it in the dryer for 3 separate rounds before you could even wear it, you know exactly what I mean. So how's it possible that cotton can be waterproof? Cotton is what scientific brainiacs like to call hydrophilic, meaning it loves water. It loves to absorb things. Even it can absorb up to 27 times its weight in water. But that means it could also absorb other things that hate water, like wax or oil. So if you can get cotton to saturate in oil and wax, it's waterproof. Don't believe me? Everything under the poncho. Oh, my hat is perfectly dry. I also find that the oil canvas poncho is a lot more breathable than a tailored jacket that is hugging every part of your body, because there are huge holes for heat to escape. There's a huge hole in the neck. There's a huge hole at the bottom. I'm practically wearing a dress. If you've ever worn a dress, you know how comfortable they are in the summer. Best of all, it's got these ginormous holes underneath the arm, which is like the biggest pit zipper in history that only waterproof jackets could dream of, to let all of this heat escape while still keeping you dry from the rain coming down from the sky. On top of that, the poncho is really long, and that's helpful when you're riding a bike, because when you're pedaling, your leg is exposed to the rain. And it covers that, and even covers most of the leg when you're in the riding position. Something to keep in mind though is that I am a pretty tall rider. This is not an issue for me, but it might be an issue for you if you are shorter, is that because the poncho is long, you have to make sure that it's not too long and not actually getting caught in the spokes of the front wheel. If it is, get a smaller poncho or get it cut at a tailor so that it doesn't do that, because that's kind of sketch. The oil canvas poncho's been a game changer for me. It is by far the most comfortable piece of clothing that I've used riding under wet conditions. It keeps me dry, both from the rain and from my sweat. It's cotton. It breathes just fine. On top of that, it has all these holes for ventilation. Unlike waterproof, breathable, synthetic materials, oil canvas or wax canvas have been proven over centuries to just work. Sailors noticed that wet sails caught more wind than dry sails, and they could sail faster. So Scottish sailors in the 1800s started applying oil and wax to their sails to make them both waterproof and catch more wind and make them faster. And there lies the problem with waxed/oil canvas for cycling. The poncho turns you into a big sail. Now, that can be a lot of fun when you're riding with a tailwind, but against the headwind, it catches all the winds with how flappy the fabric is and how much it covers. That's the trade-off, is that it makes riding, especially against the wind, pretty gnarly. You have to ride really hard just to ride slowly when you're riding against the wind in a wax cotton poncho. But in my eyes, I'm not trying to ride super hard. Please don't hit me, car. Oh my gosh, they don't see me. All right. I'm not trying to ride super hard in the rain. I'm just out here to have fun. I'm not trying to ride like I'm in the Tour de France every time I'm riding my bike. I'm just out here to get some exercise, have some fun, and feel good. So I started saying, yeah, it catches the wind and it makes me ride really slowly. But raining day is training day, baby. Speaking of having fun on bikes, this video is sponsored by Wabi Cycles. No joke, Wabi Cycles has changed my life, and I'm not just talking about the fact that they give me money to say the things that I would say anyway about them, but rather their bikes are actually so good that it's another thing to look forward to when I get on my bike every day. They help reduce the friction that we have and the excuses that we tell ourselves that we shouldn't ride our bikes or that we don't want to ride our bikes, because they are just so dang fun to ride. And part of what makes it so life-changing for me and makes it so fun to ride is that these bikes are meticulously hand-built out of top-tier Reynolds 725 or Columbus Spirit steel. It has a ride quality that just encourages you to want to get on the bike and encourages you to keep pedaling the bike once you are on it. My Wabi is one of my most treasured possessions because it tangibly improves my life. And if you're looking to get one for yourself, be sure to check out Wabi Cycles linked in the description. And Fixie famous shoutouts to David K, Julian Corona, Brandon Black, Brent David, Perez, and Ted Onchi for helping to make these fixed gear videos possible through the support on Patreon. And remember, a life is short, but don't make it shorter, so be sure to ride your bike every day to be reasonably dangerous.